Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final match of the day between two teams that have been on a real slide of late. It is Evil Geniuses versus Meet Your Makers.
So this is going to be the playground. It's going to be Summoner's Rift, and EG has definitely had a much worse start to the split than they were hoping. They're well, actually tied for last. They were at the beginning of the day, of course, with SK picking up a win. They're last for now, but they've got a huge fan following, as we've seen from the Twitter responses both today and yesterday, and that actually can really help them get a push back to the top. And as you heard them talk about, they're not necessarily looking for roster changes. They're going to make sure that they're on the same page and try to keep the practice going. Now, Meet Your Makers, they've also had a rough couple of weeks. Most of their losses, though, are incredibly close. They're just missing a little bit of late-game punch, and they turned them around. They started the season 4-1. They definitely have what it takes to get back on track.
Yeah, and it's interesting just to hear them talking about the roster changes there. It's like, no, we don't want to do it. That is the absolute last thing. That, you know, EG have been together for 2 years. They just said it themselves, but they got to put pressure on themselves as well. I remember talking to them in the spring split, in the taxi. Everything had just finished. The promos, the playoffs had just finished, and they're like, we are going to have to be hard on ourselves next season. We're going to have subs in place. If someone's not performing, we're going to swap them. Hasn't happened yet, but you just heard Froggen talking about it there. Maybe it will.
These two teams, you know, if EG wins, right, they tie them at the bottom of the standings. They make that big tie for 6th place, and these guys are very close together.
Yeah, it was interesting that the EG Army maybe is starting to feel a little bit doubtful themselves. Who knows? So far, though, ladies and gentlemen, these LCS teams, they've really only met once in Moscow, and it was Meet Your Makers that were on top at the end of that the match. And it was a convincing victory for them, unfortunately, and Evil Geniuses just didn't look good.
Yeah, so Meet Your Makers, they had a great start to the season. They went 4-1 in the first week, but they've gone 2-7 since, so it's been a little bit rough. However, they're not getting blown out in these games. The games are super close. They haven't quite been able to seal the deal, but they hold in there for a while, and they screw up at the end. They're good at taking early advantages, and they feel comfortable when they can get off the early lead. They've got to just close it out once they do.
Meanwhile, Evil Geniuses, of course, they seem to be, once again, struggling to find their way. Yesterday, we saw the lane swaps, Froggen on Malphite, Wicked on Kennen. I actually know exactly the story about this one because I've talked to them as well. They were trying to decide what to play, what was the final champion, and they kind of ran out of time and said, just pick Kennen.
It'll work. And the thing is, it almost did work, right? Their comp was really strong. They were losing most of the game they played yesterday and still managed to find team fight victories. So they... You know, they can be down on gold, they can be down a Baron, they can be down a whole bunch of turrets and kills, but they know how to mount comebacks. This is Evil Geniuses. It's CLG EU. Like, yeah, they can come back from freaking anything.
Yes.
So let's be fair. They can bring, and they can come back in games where they're super far behind. They can come back in seasons where they're super far behind. So, and the thing is, they step it up when it counts. They're up 4-2 against some of the top teams. They're 2-0 against Gambit on the season. They're 4-2 against Fnatic, Gambit, SK. They have a winning record against teams that they know very well. The problem is, the teams that have only just joined the LCS, they're 1-7 against them.
And it's interesting because I was just talking to them again upstairs where everybody is huddled together watching these matches and they're saying, we've got a really great win rate against Fnatic in scrims, but maybe we should start practicing against the other guys. And then NIP were like, we do horrible against Fnatic. I don't get how it works. But that really, I mean, is it really purely down to the lack of research, their opponents, or simply just not knowing how to beat the teams they've not really played for a long time?
I think it's definitely a lot comes down to comfort. When you know your opponent so well, it's just easy to play around them because you just know them, you understand them, you just intuitively know the kinds of things they like to do, and you see that in the scrim records, right? As you mentioned, they scrim well against some of the top teams in the league, but if they're not scrimming against the other teams in the league and they don't learn them, Evil Genius is a team they've been around forever. It's so easy to watch their games and understand what they do. So if they're not getting that same knowledge of their opponents, then sure, you're going to falter there. And, you know, maybe it helps if they pick up an analyst or a coach or something to help them adapt to the new teams, find their identity. It's something we've kind of seen with these guys where they're not quite finding that identity they had in Season 2, where they were the clear late-game team who stalled out and farmed up. That's not really the style that's working for them right here. Whereas you've got guys like Cloud9 and Alternate who have made their very obvious roles. We're an aggressive team, we push pretty hardcore early on, and we practice like hell.
And I hate to use an analogy from another game, but think of Ninjas in Pajamas in Counter-Strike. I don't know how well you know the Counter-Strike scene, but these guys get watched all the time. Everybody knows how to play against them because they're the top guys on the scene. are the old teams the same? They're simply, the Nuba guys come through, they're like, we have studied these teams so much, we know exactly what they're going to do. Everybody knows how EG play. That's the problem, and maybe they're going to have to change something.
It can hurt, right? And we heard that in the video yesterday where Deficio said sometimes when they go to counter picks like Anivia, they outpick themselves. And if they're not ready to expand that roster and make sure that they can bring something new every time and something new to the table, then that can be a risk. And so the picks and bans come through, and there are really no surprises here. The Zac from Wicked, the Jace from, like the standard stuff coming through, the Nunu as well. And hey, look, it's Charo Twisted Fate. They let that one get through.
And sure enough, for EG, obviously taking away Elise from Kuban, Shen from Kuban as well, Ari from Charo. They've got to let something through. Maybe they just felt that a teleport Twisted Fate is not something they fear. Who knows?
It's certainly, I would say, less impactful than anyone else with teleport. I mean,
but we just saw Nuke being very impacted.
Well,
with
that's fair. That's fair. Entirely.
Not with teleport though.
Yeah, I mean, Twisted Fate is obviously a great champion. It's got first pick, but when you compare to Ari, when these teams last met, Charo went 9-0-5.
Yeah.
With Ari against Evil Geniuses. You leave that in your brain and say, we're not going to let them do that again. So let that go through. There's the Malphite, though, that we had looked at last time. And I think I like a team fight centric Evil Geniuses lineup. I think it's a good identity to have. When your team's been together for 2 years, you know how to team fight so well, intuitively. And so when you pick champions that team fight well, you play up your biggest strength and say, all right, we're going to be a team fight team. And that's fine. That's a good identity for Evil Geniuses.
It seems like something that EG have settled on. They're like, okay, Froggen, you're going to play Malphite again. We'll see whether it is. I am seeing Teleport on Wicked right now, so maybe it's Wicked that's going to be playing this time around.
Who knows? I mean, either way, just having someone who can, and I actually like teleport for the laning phase as well.
Yes.
Charo, of course, can make plays all the time, and that's wonderful, but when you have a top laner show up randomly, or you have a Kassadin or a Ryze or whatever show up randomly and turn a fight around, you suddenly get to carry your early mid game. You don't have to win the duels 1v1. You can make 2v1s and 3v1s all the time, and it helps also counteract the whole point of Twisted Fate, where he teleports around the map, and so Evil Geniuses can cover a lot of their bases early on with that Summoner spell, and then get to team fights.
Well, Nautilus being picked up by Makato again, so hasn't worked massively well for him. Limbic, of course, going to be on the support. Zyra, kind of a standard pick for him. Where are EG now going to go with the AD carry? Will it be a Varus coming out for Yellow Pete? Will it be a Caitlyn? What's he going to go with this time around?
Honestly, seeing him on a team fight-based AD carry, one of the long-range ones like Varus who can help crowd control, even Twitch, even though it's not a hugely popular pick for him, is
that was like split second before. Good call.
I love Twitch in team fights because when you have when you have like a Jarvan and a Malphite, you lock the team down in a little circle and spray and pray just dunks on people when that happens. I love Twitch in this kind of comp.
You know what? Froggen's played a lot of Twitch in the mid lately.
Oh no, I don't believe you.
I was just talking to him and he's like, my team won't let me play it. And maybe, just maybe, they've had a couple of games between.
He's got Jarvan now too.
But, well, we're seeing Vayne getting locked in by Maktar as the champion. He's played a heck of a lot of, that's for sure. Final pick, of course, for Libic. What will it be? What are they going to choose for the mid lane? Well, it's going to be the top lane, actually.
I like having a carry-type champion in the top lane when you run a Vayne. Otherwise, they can hardcore dive Vayne, and then you've got no damage left over. It'll be interesting to see if they go for Lissandra, though, because then it's like we're going to hard engage, and then Mockler, hopefully, he can clean up. And we actually saw that, actually.
But is this a comp you want to hard engage into?
Not really, no. Like basically, Malphite's gonna make Vayne's life just difficult, and then as long as Yellow Pete is safe, now he might not be, right? You've got the reveal from Twisted Fate. You can easily go in with a targeted stun from Nautilus, which you cannot shake. Oh, I like that. I do like that a lot. Kassadin as a counterpick to Twisted Fate is wonderful here. So if Froggen plays it right, I mean, this game is so interesting because there's so many things at play here. So think about the back lines, right? Twisted Fate, Lissandra, and Nautilus. They can all get to Yellow Pete, and Yellow Pete can hopefully run away with a Lantern, but those stuns are still going to land. His life will still be hard. Kassadin, Malphite, and Jarvan as well, those can all get to Mockler and make Vayne's life hard. A silence is one of the worst things for Vayne to deal with. She can't tumble, she can't flash, she can't use Blade of the Ruin King. She's just going to be under a Malphite and dying, so the back lines are going to be so hard to play in this game.
I know, it's almost like when you get silenced, you can't do anything.
Not even talk.
Can't do a damn thing. Well, EG, MYM, they are the teams comps put in there. Who do you favor right now? We know EG are a strong team fighting team, but Meet Your Makers have exquisite team fighting when it counts.
I like EG a little bit because I think their lanes work really, really well. They got to counterpick the Kassadin in there. They got to basically show quote-unquote mid-lane Malphite. and basically say, hey Mim, go pick all your champions as though we were playing mid lane Malphite here. It's gonna be Malphite, it's gonna be Malphite. Surprise, we wanted to counter pick with Fate the entire time and show up with Cassin at the last second. So I think that was a really good trick to pull out in Champion Select. Of course, yeah, we know Wicked can play the champion, he has done it before, but just the fact that it's been on Froggen more recently, I feel like helps you kind of outthink your opponents. I like their overall 5v5. I think it has a potential to be much stronger.
Speaking of stronger, is Libic the biggest support you've ever seen? It's like the biggest guy on the team and plays the support.
Yes. Well, I mean, a lot of them are huge, right? You got Thresh and Blitzcrank and Alistar. I feel like you should just roleplay and play Alistar every game and then just be that imposing. Say, I'll headbutt you in real life. Bring it.
You wouldn't want to mess with him, that's for
I
damn
don't.
sure. Alongside him, of course, Makler. Going to be on Vayne this time. It's a champion he played a lot of back in Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, along with Cogmore, which he played yesterday. So a couple of champions maybe falling back. And this is what Meteor Makers have discussed in their interviews. They're saying maybe, you know, things haven't been working. Maybe we should fall back on what worked before. We'll see how that works out for them. They are up against Evil Geniuses. It's a team they played back in the CLG EU days. You know, just like EG have been around for about 2 years, MYM have been around just as long. Of course, they were in the WCG. They got second place at World Cyber Games way back in 2011, I'm going to try and say there. I think it was. But we're seeing an early start coming out there. Yellow Pete thought about sneaking up there, but he's just going to back away. Early invade coming out from Meteor Makers. I think this is going to be a blue buff ward placement.
And they've actually snuck in without getting spotted as well. So, you know, they've pinged potential ward spots right there. And you can see actually the red pings coming out from EG saying there might be someone sort of nearby. The flag toss will reveal at least a little bit. So that they, yeah, so EG will have known that Mim warded somewhere on the right-hand side, but they don't know where exactly. Now, it's actually that little banana brush up near the turret and not on blue itself, but they know there's some vision there.
An interesting ward as well from Crepo. He didn't put it in the bush, I believe. Oh, yes, it is in the bush.
Yeah,
it just looks funny on the map. I'm just looking on the map and thinking that looks way outside the bush. Instead, look at Meteor Makers. They're having an adventure around the jungle of Evil Geniuses right now.
They're way better at level 1. They're absolutely the stronger team at level 1, and Evil Geniuses gives them the deference there to say, yes, we will let you go invade our jungle and put wards down. And I like this too because basically EG will know that wards are going into their jungle, but they're not going to pink ward any of those. Those are not the likely brushes you put wards down, so you might see Crepo go for a pink ward and not catch it at all, or he'll not try. And either way, Mim gets enough vision to know where the junglers are moving.
Well, despite all those invades, it's Evil Geniuses that are actually on the red buff, and it's going to be Snoopy starting that one out alongside him with Wicked. Wicked looks like he's going to be positioning himself down that bottom lane with the Malphite, so he's going to be up against Kubon, but Snoopy on the invade, and you can see the stats right there. 50% win rate actually for both junglers on their champions right now. So somebody somewhere is going to get a bonus in those stats.
And so here's the funny thing, because Mim actually has their dual lane mid, they can actually challenge the blue buff and prevent Jarvan from getting the steal, but he's actually going to get Kubon.
This has backfired on him before. Will it be this time? He goes in for Kubon. Last time he did that on Extinct, he got stunned up under the tower. This time, wisely, slides a lot further away.
And so now both solo lanes for Meteor Makers have lost their flash right here. And it's actually going to be, this will be tough because the blue buff is getting contested here by Mokata, and his dual lane is right there to help this. They could take 3-1 buffs against Snoopy.
Snoopy's just gone past. McKenna is going to come around. Hasn't got any vision there. I don't think they know that he's gone in towards that blue buff. And like you say, this actually could spell trouble for them. He's got the help of Libic and Makler just off to the side. McKenna's going to take this blue buff away. No problem at all. That's going to give problems for Snoopy.
And Meteor Makers, this ward spots Snoopy starting the red buff. However, because his smite, actually smite's not even up right here, but they're not going to go to stop it.
But the irony is that McKenna's taking both blue buffs, Snoopy's taking both red buffs. We're all even.
We are all even ultimately, and again, the flashes were burned. So at the end of the day, this was a better opening for Evil Geniuses despite really good wards and good champion positioning. Good adaptation by Snoopy to say, you're going to take my blue, I'll just rush to red and hope you don't get there in time.
And speaking about adaptation, how do we work for this one? So Meteor Makers, they've gone for a 2v1 against Cassidy. That's going to be hard lane for Froggen. Meanwhile, of course, in the top lane, Charu is 2v1 up against Pete and Crepo.
So it's interesting because Caston tends to have a bit of a harder time in 1v2s, and you're seeing this right here. He's so easy to bully out. He's a melee champion. It's difficult for him. However, being in a short lane, it is hard to tower dive him. Makata has to defend Charu because they could have gone for a 3-on-1 dive with Snoopy.
Yeah, kind of just getting spotted out by the Dark Passage. Flung out of Crepo to give himself that little bit of extra vision, but Pete's keeping the pressure on. Gonna try and farm his way through, but ironically, both Twitch and Vayne both want that little bit of free time to farm up, and they're getting it.
The thing is, Twitch is a stronger laner, I would say, than Vayne. Just has higher ability potential, has just more tools to deal with getting zoned or zoning your opponents. But either way, they both scale incredibly well during the late game and are a little bit unsafe during team fights. So there'll be these huge explosive cannons that will deal crap tons of damage if they can do it, but there's teams basically built to deal with them when it does get to endgame.
Well, the first back for Charu was a Doran's Ring, so we'll see whether he uses that. Snoopy sneaking around this mid lane. There is 3 members of Meteor Makers here. He's going to get the flag toss, slide on through, catches Makata out. The tower wasn't on him. Snoopy taking damage. That's going to try and buy some time for Frog, and he's going to go back. He has got teleport to quickly return to that mid lane. Something we didn't actually make use of, and note that both Wicked and Froggen have the teleport, along with Charu.
And they're all really good playmakers. You've got Unstoppable Force, you've got Rift Walk, along with the Silence and Slow on top of that one. So if EG just teleports into a fight, they have absolutely the tools to wreck someone's day. If they want to make someone die, they can do it once they hit 6.
A lane swap coming out again. Charu now down towards the bottom lane, which means he's going to be up against Wicked. We see Kubon, he's going into that 2v1. Charu wasn't having much fun in that 2v1 lane, honestly. He was losing out on CS compared to Froggen. You can see he's just cleared out that big chunking wave. We do see Froggen, he teleports back in towards the mid lane, gets himself the Tear of the Goddess.
So here we go. This is the real test, and of course the Doran's Shield as well being so important for Froggen in this matchup to not take so much poke. And this is smart as well. Snoopy is camping his lane because it'll help keep the turret alive and it'll help keep the team honest. They can't really tower dive Froggen, and he can do things like this.
You get a lot of damage down on towards Libic, gets the slowdown, wasn't followed up by Froggen, hasn't hit 6 yet, so couldn't Rift walk in and put that extra bit of damage down. And honestly, they're still very scared of Makla.
They're going to have to be, honestly. Vayne is very, very good when you don't have good crowd control against her. She can actually tumble away from Jarvan Noctis as well, as long as she's not silenced. So as far as this matchup is concerned, Makler should be having a lot of say in these battles.
Look at Kubon. He's still only level 4 compared to the AD and support. Yellow Pete's already hit 5, so this is actually a scary lane for him right now to be up against Krepo and Pete, because one hook could cause problems for them. He is going to try and clear out that wave, though. He's got good ranged farm clear.
Yeah, this is
that a word?
Ranged farming tools, that's good enough. He's actually wasting his escape just to try to take down some minions a little bit faster, try to keep him off the turret and pick up some gold here. This is a good adaptation by Kubon as long as he's not getting ganked. And so far he's not, because of course Jarvan's holding out of the mid lane. But here comes the teleport gank.
Teleporting in towards the top. They're actually into the lantern, so the dark passage being used to teleport in. We do see Makata quickly reacted. He comes up towards there. Wicked backs away from this one. They tried to get that gank down, but it wasn't working.
You know what's cute is you can actually teleport to the lantern there. And the thing is, Charu had locked a gold card, but didn't actually hit Wicked, so we didn't actually stop the teleport. But they can create teleport ganks out of nowhere, which is really cool.
That is pretty cool. You see the lantern being thrown out. This time it's on towards Makata. They're going to throw the hook out. They catch on towards him. The damage from Pete's not going to quite be enough, though. They try and keep it on towards Kubon. Kubon without that ultimate right now. Pete, of course, is getting very close to level 6. Has got spray and pray shortly, but it bought a lot of time for the bottom lane. So while that happened, Charu said, thank you very much, I'll have some free farm. And
that's just so good for him. And what you saw right there was basically that even when you get denied farm a fair bit, the solo laner plus the jungler tends to beat the duo lane 2v2, just because there's a little bit more sources of experience, and they tend to get a little bit out leveled and a little bit stronger. So that's the move you're seeing right there. And with the mid turret already going down, it's now time for the duo lane to defend one of those lopsided turrets and to keep pressure somewhere else, so they go to the bottom lane to stop Froggen for even longer. Yeah,
the merry-go-round continues. We see Makler and Libic go to the bottom. Froggen's up against him. It does mean that Wicked moves in towards the mid lane, and that's going to be up against Charu now, as Charu swings around, gets himself actually a Negatron cloak, so we'll see how that works out.
Likely to pick up Twin Shadows.
Magic Mantle, I should say, not a Negatron.
He's against 2 bursty magic damage dealers. It is very easy for both Malphite and Kassadin to hit Twisted Fate, so he's like double Doran's Ring, Twin Shadows, like I'll be more utility-based because I don't get to build AP. I'll die if I build AP. So it'll be a slightly tankier, more mobility-based TF out of necessity.
Wicked making his way down. He's going to walk through Tribush Ward, though. So he is going to get spotted out. Has got Unstoppable Force available. Tries to go for it quickly. Makler tumbles, flashes out of that. Turns it straight back on towards him. We're going to see Charu coming in as well. Going to manage to get the stun card. It's Wicked they went for. I'm not too sure that was the right target. He's going to have that passive. We're going to see Kumakla is going to try and get on towards him. Flashes quickly, dashes away from there. Now we see Froggen on the back. He tries to get on towards Wicked. Tries a sneaky maneuver, but Rift walks away. No ganks working there, but lots of ultimates and summoners used.
That was not the best condemn. He thought he'd catch Wicked on the wall, but he slightly missed that and pushed him outside of Charu's flash range. That would have been a kill otherwise. And I like their target selection, though. They went for Malphite. Even though he was farther away, they knew Froggen could Rift Walk away. They wouldn't have enough damage to kill him before he got out. So they said, look, Wicked, you have no ult. You basically have no flash at this point as well. We can chase you down. And if they hadn't missed the condemn, they would have gotten it.
There is a CS advantage being built up for the AD carries. You can see that Pete is ahead right now, 81 to 69 on Makta. Makta back down in this bottom lane though. That's got a big wave. He's going to continue chunking that one through. Did of course take that turret down in the mid lane. We see Pete and Crepo. They're going to go back. We'll see what they go and pick up. Oh, Froggen putting some damage down. Back on Makta once again. Starting to become a bit scarier now as his items start to gather and his levels start to build up. Force Pulse is going to start doing some damage. It is the Null Sphere that he's leveled up at the moment. He is going to get aggressed on by Makta, but it just forces him back. Where is Pete going? They're coming down towards the bottom lane, and you can see that Infinity Edge well underway by Pete.
So the 1v1 matchup between Bjergsen and Makler, or not Bjergsen, sorry, Froggen and Makler will actually go Makler's way because he has some lifesteal now. He can't get poked out by Kasten. However, there's so many items picked up here for Yellow Pete, the BS sword and the pickaxe, that he'll actually beat Vayne in a 1-on-1 battle unless he gets condemned into a wall. So basically, EG wants to fight this battle here. They'll tend to be much stronger.
Just look how many wards Meet Your Makers are starting to stack out here. Are they going to maybe move for the Dragon? We are at closing on the 11-minute mark. I'm just going to keep my eye on Makata's path to see whether he thinks he's going to go down there. Following Wicked as well. Wicked heading down south. I think that's simply to ward out. Now he's just checking out the bottom area, seeing if there's anyone in and around there. He's got to keep his eye on Chara, of course, to make sure he doesn't use that ultimate. It will be back available in around about 30 seconds time. In terms of CS between the two mid laners, despite the fact they're not beat up against each other, Charu is winning out in terms of CS over Froggen as well.
Yeah, and that's what you're kind of seeing. The lane movements being moved around. The Twitch basically has been actually repositioned less, right? Makler has went from mid to bottom and recalled a couple of times. He's had less time to farm because he's been thrown around in various lanes, whereas Yellow Pete has been able to free farm, and they're right off the recall from Libic. EG knows they've got the stronger lineup here on the map. They get the Dragon taken down, and this equalizes the gold lead now. They've lost the turret, but they've grabbed the Dragon. That's big for them.
Yeah, clever play. The moment they saw Makler in that top lane, they're like, fine, go Dragon, get it quick. And they did just that. Makata had a little look around, thought he could maybe sneak in and get the steal. Wasn't going to happen. We do see the bottom lane, no. Pressure back on towards it. Kubon taken very low. Spray and pray coming out there from Pete. Is it going to be enough? One more shot. Yes, it will be. That's first blood. And it's Pete that picks it up.
Absolutely amazing play there, Evil Geniuses. That Twitch just does so much damage right now. Buying early attack damage items allows him to just burst people out with Expunge. Every Twitch maxes that one first, and it just wrecks people. So it's a good power spike right now. Yellow Pete is definitely the strongest AD carry in the map, and he will be for quite some time.
Yeah, he didn't even need that ulti either. That's the difference there. So once that hook landed, it caused problems for Kubon, and that will be the first turret of the game for Evil Geniuses. Of course, Meet Your Makers took the mid turret down early on. We're going to see Wicked now coming in. Unstoppable Force is available. Is he going to go for it? It's Makler surely going to be the target. He managed to tumble and gamble his way out of the last one. Instead, it's Froggen's going to back away. It's actually a very scary fight for him to go, but instead it's going to be down the bottom. It's Kubon they go in towards. Cataclysm on towards him. Is he going to take him down? Yes, he will. Froggen teleports in. Rift walks across. Crepo taken so low. Unstoppable Force used on Charu. Now they're going to turn it back around. He's forced away. And you know what? EG, they can maybe push on instead. No, we're going to see Froggen. Rift walks in there. Stun card gets pulled out. Null Sphere lands. Snoopy gets a bit more poke on towards him. Froggen hasn't really got the mana to continue. EG have put a lot in towards this. They may get themselves an inner turret out of it.
They don't have enough health bars, though. Oh, good Rift Walk right there. That would have been his death if he didn't Rift Walk at that second right there. It does give free reign over the top lane, though. That is the price you pay for running teleport, is you leave these lanes empty and allow unopposed turret pushing. Because that second turret didn't go down, the teleports weren't really worth it. They didn't turn any more kills out of that. They did stop the push in a Crepo, but they traded 2 big summoner spells for a turret to stop 1 death.
But there was 1 kill, another one for Yellow Pete. He's gone back, he's got himself that Infinity Edge, so we will see how it works out. Unfortunately though, as you see that stat, it's not the best stat to ever see for an AD carry. He has the most deaths, he is 46.
But he's defeating it so far.
Yes, he's doing all right so far. He's 2-0. And it seems to be working well at the 14-minute mark. It's EG just with that 400 gold lead. You can see in the top of your screens, of course, they've got 2-1 towers advantage for Meet Your Makers because that top turret did go down in that trade-off.
And there's a fight in the bottom lane as well. Kuma trying to get away from Yellow Pete, but he's massive as we've seen.
Pete does use the spray and pray, should be enough, and he just mows down Kubon there. He had no chance, and that's actually 3 kills on the same champion, so starting to be less gold for Pete.
That's true. The next one's going to be worth about 128 gold, so not the same kind of kills you normally see, but even still, Yellow Pete with a 13-minute Infinity Edge is a huge power spike. This is something that Evil Geniuses can actually utilize to their advantage, that even though Froggen has not had a good game, he's had the junk lane every single time, has the lowest minion kills of any of the laners on his team. They can rely on Yellow Pete to carry team fights. And when Wicked has Unstoppable Force, they can rely on him to carry the team fight as well, just to lock them down for Pete. And EG could actually make some moves here if they wanted to.
They're trying to make moves on towards that top, looking towards that blue buff. It's not available yet. We do see Snoopy and Frog, and they're just rotating around the map. Charu in this mid lane, being very cautious. The mobility now that EG have with those teleports, with the Rift Walk, with the Rat being stealthy, sneaking around, we're going to have to start seeing a lot more pink wards coming out from Meet Your Makers.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you have a very ahead Twitch who can gank for a lane that can follow up for him. Froggen can easily follow up, right? Wicked can easily follow up. If they actually do roam with Yellow Pete, they can force kills on Charu, they can force kills on a Kubon.
Well, there's the hook being thrown out, not landing. Crepo doesn't manage to find his target there, but Charu, ooh, the slide comes in. Snoopy forcing the flash out from Charu, though.
Yeah, his ganks have been effective. They're burning some of his spells. He's not ganking all that frequently, except for those kills on a Kubon. He's only burning flashes, so he's not revisiting the lane. Right? Charu lost his flash at level 1, Kubon lost his flash at level 1, and he didn't really capitalize those into more kills early on. So he's, like I said, he's not revisiting the lanes in time to snowball those ahead.
Good trade for Magda on Pete there. Mentioned to use that Condemn just to force him back to prevent any more damage on him. Got that Blade of the Rune King completed, so feeling confident in that lane, only about 8 CS behind, so not a great deal. Of course, the kills will be a big spike in gold for Pete, but as it stands, it's fairly close between the two.
With Blade of the Ruin King done for Vayne, he's actually able to duel Twitch 1v1. No, I realize it's actually a 2v2. There's the exhaust and the box here for Crepo, and that's going to make things difficult. But in terms of those guys actually getting into a fight, it would go very, very well for Makler because he can pretty much guarantee a Condemn Wallstone once you have your ultimate on. So that's the reality for EG. They've got to babysit Yellow Pete because Makler will make things hard.
Well, there's a 4-man push looking towards the bottom lane. We see Makata coming round. We did have Charu roaming in towards there, and quickly you see the bottom pairing of Pete and Crepo backing away from that turret. They realize they're going to lose the turret. They're going to get themselves the top turret, though. Froggen's up there helping out Wicked, so it's a turret trade back and forward, but it's Meet Your Makers that continue to come out on top. That's all 3 outer turrets taken down, and these 4 members of Meet Your Makers, they're not backing off just yet.
They're going to be happy to keep pushing right here. Honestly, Malphite Chasm does not push all that hard, but they actually might be able to one-shot Kuban under his turret, and you're seeing Kuban have to hide away. They don't push turrets very fast, though, compared to an AD carry. Honestly, if MY want to take some kind of other global objective, it's an okay trade.
Oh, Makat Kuban is going to come in, tries to get out, has to use his ultimate instantly. And don't forget, the both ultimates still available for Wicked. If they want to use it, Froggen, of course, his ultimate just simply rift walks his way in there. They continue the damage. Finally, we are seeing Charu. He's going to come across and help out. Then Wildcards signal that. All 3 members of Meet Your Makers had to gather in the mid lane, which has given EG a chance to regroup as well.
Yeah, this is interesting. Meet Your Makers tended to bite off more than they could chew. They thought they could do something instead of defending that secondary sort of top lane turret, and then realized, wait, we're not taking Dragon. It's not quite up just yet. I think they didn't quite have the timer because EG took the last one, and didn't push for a secondary right-hand side turret either, so they've kind of given up that map control.
Well, it is all the Dragon they're going for. The teleport's coming in. Who's going to be joining them? It will be Wicked getting in there. Unstoppable Force is available. Snoopy slides in. Hasn't used that Cataclysm yet. Gets caught by the Grasping Roots. Unstoppable Force does go in. They jump onto Makata. He has to use that flash. Snoopy's going to have his slide once again available. Dark Passage being thrown out. Here comes Froggen just around the side. Charu still with that stun card. Is going to land it on Froggen.
They're waiting for the Sandra.
Goes in, throws down his ultimate. Stranglethorns gets caught in there. Limit gets taken down. Snoopy very, very low. It's going to be the first kill for Meet Your Makers. But it is going to be Makler that picks that one up. And again, they're doing a lot of damage. Pete comes in. He gets massacred, though. And Meet Your Makers turn this on its head. Makler picks himself up a second kill. Kubon doing work as well. He was the one that got Yellow Pete down.
And that was, I think, a lot about Makler right there. He's going to actually jump down by Yellow Pete.
Froggen jumps in there. Is he going to be able to
no!
Condemned on the wall. Brilliant play. Makler picks himself up a 3rd kill. And just like that, The AD carries are in control.
Oh my gosh, so really scrappy fights like that are the exact battles you want for Vayne. The ulti from Malphite did not go into Mockler, it went down onto Makata, and he was like, great, I'm Nautilus, sure, I'll tank that, that's not a big deal, go for it, go ahead and hit me, I don't really care too much. Which let Mockler do whatever he wanted in that team fight. Run around, use Blade of the Ruin King, kite Wicked forever. Wicked never landed an ability on him, basically. And then Froggen, the problem is, he's been in junk lanes the entire time. Froggen does not have much ability power, just a Rod of Ages now. It's still stacking up right there. So he's not very powerful either, and you saw that when he tried to duel Mockler. Normally, Kassadin loves killing AD carries, and he can't do that yet.
Oh, and the Phantom Dancer pops into place for Makler. Suddenly, his power has spiked massively. And Pete, honestly, while he was in the right place at the right time, he got focused so quickly, as we talked about in picks and bans. Now we're seeing Makata actually maybe going to try and cause some aggro on EG. It is all about the blue buff. That's what they want to fight for. Froggen starts it off. Meteor Makers, they are ready for a fight on this one.
This is going to be rough positioning, though, because Evil Geniuses have Spray and Pray and soon the box, and tight quarters are so good for EG. Oh, he gets the steal!
They get the hook, though, on Makata. Are they going to finish this one off? He's going to try and slide himself away from there. He's taken very low. Unstoppable Force catches two of them. Makata goes down, but on the side, we see Snoopy getting taken out as well. Wildcard's going through three members there. Brilliantly placed. Yellow Pete taken very low. EG on the run right now. And Meteor Makers once again coming out on top, despite the fact they lost two members.
Yeah, it's 2-1 right there. You know, the blue buff being taken away, EG forced back, and MIM could have chased if they had a little bit more vision in that brush, but they were all swept out. EG got to run around behind a wall, and you don't want to face check a Cassid. You're going to get slowed and silenced. Char actually wants something. Ooh. Never mind. They all run away from him.
Used his ulti to try and spot it out there. Yellow Pete had already got away, though. He was really the target they were going for. Let's talk about the AD carries now, because Pete's at 6-1. He's got himself Infinity Edge and Phantom Dancer. That's the start of a beautiful build already. Makler as well. Phantom Dancer, Blade of the Rune King. He's at 4-0.
There is a 300 gold lead right here for Yellow Pete. Very, very slight, but that's what this game is going to basically turn into. They're two late-game hyper carries, and they're two teams who tend to have games reach the late game when they play. The EG sort of old school style is late game team fights, and they're looking like that right here. Meteor Makers, while they often make some good early moves, their games tend to reach late game anyway, so screw it. They're going to fix their late game champions and go for it there. And again, these teams are crafted to be able to beat up AD carries pretty easily or initiate fights and create havoc to allow someone like Vayne to roam free. So you're going to have to keep watching them in these team fights. They're going to mean a lot this game.
And of course, the mid laners, it is Froggen going to build up more ability to power. He's going to maybe try and shut down Charu. There's teleports been fairly successful for both teams so far, honestly. Charu, of course, with his teleport and ulti, can get around the map very quickly. Froggen off at the top then, he's done to farm out. And we should talk about Kuban as well, because he was kind of camped, farmed, beaten, browbeaten, everything was against him. But he's come back into it wonderfully. He created a lot of the opportunities in the fight they had in the bottom lane.
That's one of the beautiful things about Lissandra, is that she is a utility-based champion, and none of that scales with items. I mean, cooldown's okay, but basically his engage, and now with Azonia's as well, he can just start fights out and clear people out, root them in place, stun them up, slow people down, whatever he needs to do. He's got that. He's able to be Lissandra, even though he was camped early on, which is actually almost rough for Evil Geniuses that, you know, they killed him, the one guy who doesn't really care about getting gold.
You see the two AD carries in the mid lane defending out that turret there. Makler doesn't want to allow the hook getting thrown out towards Libic, but quickly replies with a plant thrown on towards Greppo. And they do back away from that one. Wicked, he's trying to camp it out here. He wants to see go Charu. Has he got anything to go in a one-on-one duel here?
It's going to be tenuous, honestly. Both these teams, I feel like, are the more reserved types and wouldn't want to just go start duels randomly in general. So I feel like we wouldn't even see it happen anyway. So Meteor Makers, I'm trying to think of who's even in the lead right here. Who's the playmaker? The teleports are up for Evil Geniuses. Froggen is able to roam around if he wants to. Dragon's coming up soon. And EG have, I would say, these slightly better, like if you draw battle lines, the better 5-on-5 team fight, because they can just be ready to go and then crash into each other. For Meteor Makers, though, they're the ones who want to create just slightly more opportunities, use the TF ultimate, and use the fact that it has a lower cooldown than Summoner Teleport to create lopsided engagements.
Well, speaking of lopsided engagements, Froggen's managed to get that wave down onto the turret. They're not going to do a great deal, but every little bit of damage counts. And it seems that Wicked and Froggen actually quite happy to just be off both split push in the lanes, trying to keep Meteor Makers guessing here. You keep seeing Wicked, he's just standing off in the bushes, taking away the vision, realizing that Meteor Makers don't know where he is right now, so it keeps them guessing in the mid. Meanwhile, Yellow Pete, he's happy farming the mid.
And I like the whole double split push thing from EG because they're really self-sufficient champions who can get away from ganks with Unstoppable Force with Riftwalk. It does let Meteor Makers take objectives like this though because EG is so decentralized, but because they can teleport back into the fights and have great ultis, if Mim tries to dive a turret, EG can respond.
It's just 100 gold between the two teams right now. That's going to be a Siege minion actually pushing on. Froggen could have stuck around and took that turret, I feel. Maybe he's going to let the minions do it themselves. We'll see whether they are able to. Pete's going to get himself another chunk of farm in the mid. Actually, Crepo maybe stole a little bit of farm there as well. He is a scumbag after all.
He is a scumbag after all. So basically, the reason Froggen and Wicked are both being very safe is while they have some wards in the opposing jungle, they don't have all the routes covered. We actually saw that last game with Nukeduck's Twisted Fate, where though we knew he wasn't getting caught, he didn't know he wasn't getting caught and said, well, look, if I get caught split pushing, I throw away an objective, I throw away a turret or a team fight or whatever. I want to make sure that I'm not the cause of a loss here. I can kill the turret eventually later on. I'll play it slow. And that's kind of the game plan these guys are giving right here is respecting the fact that ganks might be coming in and taking it slow.
Well, there's a ping on the mid lane turret from Meteor Makers. They are happy to push all 5 members up there. While this is happening, they see Wicked down the bottom lane. They're thinking, do we deal with it? Do we just shove on towards this one? He is going to get damage on the inner turret. Froggen's just off to the side, getting himself the blue buff as well. Meteor Makers, this is what I've talked about so many times, or what Jason's certainly mentioned with Meteor Makers. They did get that first turret, but they still seem very hesitant on what to do. And we're seeing EG, once again, creating situations which Meteor Makers don't seem to know how to react to right now.
Yeah, EG are definitely the ones dictating right now. You're seeing they're the ones pushing. They're the ones past the river not getting caught because they're doing it better. And it's going to be a catch on Acharo. He is so gone.
He is absolutely massacred. It's going to be Wicked, or is he? Is he? Can he try and get away from this one? Will he buy time? Makler's in there. He's going to try and condemn Froggen. He does get the condemn on Froggen. Froggen rift walks away, but the damage is enough. And very well played from Sharo just to kite his team in towards EG there. The rest of EG did come around. That was a simple 1-for-1 for both mid laners.
But it was, both flashes burned away from EG, so actually a lot of summoners gone. Limit's getting cut out as well, but this could be a good fight.
The bot gets thrown down, but look at Kubon reacting so well to this one. Crepo trying to get away, but Yellow Pete gets dropped. Now they're onto Snoopy. He gets hooked in there. Makana doing the damage. Cataclysm comes out from Snoopy, realizes he is a dead man. That's going to be Mackler that picks up another kill. And just like that, Meteor Makers, they're going to go straight for Baron.
Oh, that's so amazing. And the double crowd control combo. Yellow Pete does not have innate escape tools. It was the Lissandra ultimate right into a targeted Makata ultimate from Nuttles as well. Nothing that Yellow Pete could have done about this. And now Wicked has no ulti, no flash. He can't participate in this.
They can't do anything. Teleport is coming in from Froggen. He's going to maybe try and get in and get a steal. Not too sure he's going to be able to. They're trying to do any bit of distraction they can. Stun cards are you available. Froggen goes in, tries to silence on McCallum. Not going to happen. Living may well be a kill, but it's Crepo that goes down straight away afterwards. And the Baron was picked up by Meteor Makers.
It's a good choice. Oh, Mackler, you got caught out.
Why did he go in that bush? I don't know. It's a big shutdown bonus for Froggen. They may turn this one around, and that Baron is being wasted right now. McCann is going to try and slide in. Froggen will have that Rift Walk back available in a moment. There it is. Gets straight on towards him. Kubon now taking low. He turns around, takes down Froggen. But that is actually a successful defense by EG because the AD carry, the main one they wanted the Baron on, has been taken out and should not have been face checking that bush.
That is rough. That is definitely rough here for Meteor Makers. I mean, the Baron pickup is still really good. It's worthwhile, and ultimately that was just off the back of a one-team fight, but a 3-for-2, dropping 3 Baron buffs away. All you have to do is look at the gold, and you're like, great, the teams are basically equal in gold. Only Kubon and Charu have the Baron buff on themselves, so that's mostly nullified at this point. We're back to a very even game where it's how well will they position in team fights.
Absolutely. Charu gets himself a chunk of gold with the wild card, thrown up there. Yellow Pete gets himself a red buff. Look at the gold though across them. 80 carries, 200 gold between them. The mid laners, just about 300 gold between those two. Junglers, 200 gold between them. Top laners, 100 gold between them. Supports, 200 gold between them. Very tight game. That Baron buff is generally counted as a big bonus, but the fact that he's only on 2 members right now is kind of nullifying it.
And to keep the topic of close by numbers, look at the gold total, 100 gold apart, turrets 1 apart, kills 1 apart. These teams are very evenly matched right now, similar team comps as well, but the push is in with no one from EG to respond just yet. This will be another turret picked up for MYM.
That's going to be an inner turret easily taken. The fact that they had the both carries off on the lanes, Froggen didn't have teleport available. He's actually going to continue in that bottom, but good push, good tactical awareness from Meteor Makers. They realized the situation, they realized Pete was in the top. He was never going to be able to defend that one. And the fact that Froggen's timer was down, which I'm almost certain they know that timers on these teleports these days.
I'm curious. Because they wouldn't have really seen him teleport in, though, because he teleported into a ward in the background and came across, and Frog is looking for Makler here.
And see if he can do it. It didn't work out the last time, and he's not convinced by it, it seems. But he is going to come across in towards that wave. He's got the rest of his team coming in. Oh! The time in there. Charu pops that ultimate back, that turns around quickly.
He actually shows up to the bottom lane as well. He sees that all of EG are in that bottom jungle. So here's the real test now, because the ultimates are back up again, and that is always what you want to consider right here. All the ultis are up, and of course a very smart choice by Yellow Pete as well. Stopped his offensive build and went for a Banshee's Veil because he's getting hit by targeted stuns. Nothing's breaking his Banshees. He's not losing that to anything except for, generally speaking, a crowd control ability. So him having Banshees makes sure he blocks not only the damage, but the actual application of CC, and then has Cleanse, so it'll be very hard to get rid of Yellow Pete.
Well, Crepo gets caught out there. Yellow Pete turns around, he's put spray and pray down. Livic's going to get caught out. Makana's the next focus target, gets the slow on towards him. He's going to get tossed up in the air. Yellow Pete picks himself up another kill, and that was a 3 for 0. Very, very quick, easy exchange, because Froggen managed to take down Max off the side.
Incredibly well played right there. They didn't get, Meteor Makers didn't get to do anything right there. The CC chain on Livic was a free kill. Froggen now has enough AP to actually do good things on his own. You saw him get rid of Makler. The EG lineup is now working exactly as intended.
Working exactly as intended. 20 seconds still on the spawn, so 2 members desperately trying to defend this one. They've got the wave clip, but look at the damage Kubon uses that Zhonya's hourglass. Will it be enough? Crepo throws out the hook, didn't quite land the timing. Kubon uses his ultimate. He's just trying to buy time. He may have done it. Yes, he does. Takes down Crepo. Is it going to buy enough time for the turret? No, it's not. And that could be an inhibitor turret going down.
Ooh.
Oh no, Pete again. How many times have I said it? Hit the goddamn tower.
But the thing is, Charu was back with his ultimate available, and the rest of the team respawning. If they bought home guard boots, Charu can jump in, land a stun, Zhonya's any counterattack, Libic shows up, flash exhaust his roots, his ulti was still up as well. That's actually a good read by EG to realize that they killed MYM so fast, they didn't get to use their ultimate summoner spells. They were full power coming into that fight.
And they quickly backed away. It's going to be the Dragon Note for Meteor Makers. It's going to keep things still very close. The fact that they didn't take that inhibitor turret down, the gold is just going to be 1,000 between the 2 teams once again. And honestly, it seems to be who gets the better engage right now, which you would expect, but there really isn't a great deal of difference. But as we saw in that last fight, Froggen, if he can get Makler off on his own, can kill him now.
Yes, and this is really the difference between the AD carry builds, because Yellow Pete stopped at I had Phantom Dancer and then went Banshee's Veil, saying I need to survive these team fights, whereas Makler went for the Blade of the Ruin King and a Phantom Dancer and then a Last Whisper before buying Magic Resist. Now, while ideally Makler would do more damage, an AD carry deals 0. And him dying right away in those fights does not let him ever win a team fight.
Oh, Pete loses his Banshee's Veil there. Oh, the hook's going to get thrown out. It lands on Livic. They go straight in on that, and just like that, he gets dropped down. Makana again. He's going to get focused. The shard lands. Froggen goes in. Rift walks on there. That's another kill for him. Kubon splits off the side. They don't care. It's Charu they're going to go for. Zhonya's hourglass comes out. Pete will clean that one up in the back there. We see the double. That's going to be a condemn from Makler. I don't think it's going to be enough. The shard slowdown from Wicked was enough. Cataclysm comes in. He quickly tumbles away from that one. Snoopy will have his combo to knock him up, but
there
look
comes
at
Froggen.
Teleported in the side there. He's going to come around. Rift walks in. Force pulse. It's going to be Wicked that picks up the kill. That's a 4 for 0 exchange. And Evil Geniuses, they are looking very good now. They should be able to take the inhibitor turret in the mid.
And again, they got the exact fight they wanted. They caught out Livic once more without being able to use his own ultimate. And then it's just chase power. This team is so good at chasing people down that they'll get those cleanup kills.
That's another horrible stat that you don't want to see. It is Libic, the most deaths as a support. Nearly got taken down in one combo there from Froggen this time around. They do take the inhibitor. They take the inhibitor. Remember the middle inhibitor? That could get tanked out by Wicked. Instead, they're going to back away because MYM all spawning.
And there we go, but it's enough for them. This is the EG that the fans wanted to see right here. Charu wants to see if there's a straggler that was coming back from Evil Geniuses to see if they split up different ways. They're not going to find anything there. But this is the evil geniuses that fans wanted to find. They're playing a team fight composition, which is good for them. It goes into one of their strengths. And they're playing, because of the double teleport, they're not playing, man, we got to outskill you and win duels 1v1 in lanes. They're playing a comp that lets you outskill and out-strategize an overall game plan. Right? Both those things play into EG's primary strengths as players and as an organization, is their intimate knowledge of each other and of the game itself by playing competitively for so many years. This is a very, very good thing for this lineup. I expect to see more of this in the coming weeks.
And I always like to see Froggen on a champion that he simply can carry hard on, because at 838, he's definitely creating the opportunities. He's tracking down Makler. Oh, he nearly did get caught with the grasping roots, but nearly face checked that one. But look at the side. We see Wicked. He's looking to create an opportunity. Has got that unstoppable force. Could have maybe caught all 5 members out instead. They're saying, we have full positional advantage over Meteor Makers. We're going to push down. Remember that inhib turret was already damaged by EG in the last push.
It's going to be enough for them to take this one down. And Froggen is, ooh, wow, that was actually dangerous. He could have been caught out right there and bursted down in a combo. He's got the death cap, though. He does plenty of damage right here. That turret's going to go down as well. Mim's going to have a hard time actually defending this. Ultis are available, though.
Well, if they're grouped up, Kuban could find himself an advantage to dive in and stun them all down there, which is why they wisely back away from this one. Meteor Makers, though, have got themselves a second exposed turret. We do see, of course, the fact that Baron has spawned. Evil Geniuses all heading back that way. There's a lot of pink wards around there, but the fact that Crepo has the Oracle, he'll be able to clear them out in no time.
There's no real rush here for EG. They've got the ward coverage. They'll start on Baron, but they'll likely pull off before Mim really gets into range. And you see that right there. But they know that they've got super minions flooding into the bottom of the base, and that the middle inhibitor is easy to take down as well. And so EG can keep stretching MYM out, feinting at Baron, not even intending to really kill it unless Mim just lets him have it, and waiting for some kind of setup.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have it this time. Twisted Fate, Charu using his ultimate, sees it happening, but they are not close enough to do anything about this one. And with Yellow Pete so fed, he's going to take that down in no time. He has got that last Whisper completed now, and look at Wicked, he's playing defensive duties. I'm not going to say goalkeeper, because he'd be catching things there. Instead, he's just looking to keep the pressure on. The first Baron for EG, will it be more to come, or will they just be able to close the game out with this one?
And I don't think MYM can defend this inhibitor. They didn't fight for the turret. There's no way that they fight for the inhibitor against a Baron buff team, so it will be 2-0 inhibs.
Wow.
The silence lasts long enough. Kuba does not go in on this one. Inhib does go down. No major engage at all. So now, do they even defend the secondary outer turret? Do they even defend the inhibitor turret? MYM can't just go 3 inhibs down. They'll just lose the game passively at that point.
As of yet, in the European LCS, we haven't seen a team come back from losing 2 inhibitors. So by that reckoning, Evil Geniuses may well have closed the bottom's gap once again. I did say to Wicked just before this, I said, you know you're bottom of the table now. He's like, no, it doesn't count. We haven't played our match. No, it counts, it counts. It's like, it won't last long. It won't last long. Maybe, just maybe, EG have managed to suss out what they need to do, but unfortunately for Meteor Makers, if they lose this game, it's going to put them in a hell of a losing spiral. We do see the wave getting cleared in the top, everything being pushed in, super minions down the mid and bottom, and everybody stacking those items.
Yeah, an EG win here puts them, Meteor Makers, and SK Gaming all in a tie for 6th place. That is the reality if this game goes down right here. If it goes the other way, EG are alone at 8th, and Meteor Makers holds on to 6th themselves as well. So EG still playing the smart game. Only 30 seconds left on Baron, but they're actually, sorry, 2.5 minutes left on Baron, and they're just grabbing their buffs, saying we've got enough time. We could even take Dragon before pushing a turret down if we want, just to make sure we get farther and farther ahead in this game. This might be used to make sure Yellow Peak can kill the red buff sooner. They're putting all the buffs in the right places, then saying, all right, now top lane is ours. That secondary turret is going to be fairly easy to kill. However, Meteor Makers are hiding in a brush to start something.
Well, Wicked's there, but quickly, if Froggen goes in, oh, he's already used the Force Pulse. Didn't realize that they're going to catch on towards him. Is he going to be able to rift walk away from it? Dark Passage was thrown out, but he did get caught. Now they go to Yellow Pete. He gets caught out by Makata, but Spray and Pray is catching him in beautiful positional advantage. And Livik, he's going to try and do the damage. He's trying to catch them out, tries to lock them down. Makata, though, just getting punished. And Pete managed, oh, he failed flashed. He failed flashed. Doesn't matter, he still picked up the kill nevertheless. And there we see Snoopy coming across. So despite the fact it kind of backfired a little bit for EG, it didn't happen, and it may well be a surrender coming in. No, it wasn't. It's just simply going to be Wicked going in there. That's going to be the Nexus turrets going. It's Evil Geniuses that pick up the win against Meteor Makers. Meteor Makers in a bit of a spiral of defeats right now. It is all gone wrong for them since DreamHack. They have not managed to pick up a win in a long time, but EG, you can see they're happy with with this one. I don't think... Are we going to see... Oh, wait a minute. I want to see this. I want to see it.
Is the trolling?
Is the trolling going to happen again? No!
There's the hit. Oh, it might be Crapo. Might be Crapo. There we go, Crapo. Yeah. Snoopy knows.
Snoopy knows. I talked to them already. They already laugh about it. So, Evil Geniuses, they have a victory. And it does mean, as you said, it is a tie. 3 teams in 6th place now.
Yep.
It is getting really tight in the summer split.
There's 2 teams in 1st, there's 3 teams in 3rd, there's 3 teams in 6th, and there's only 1 to 3 games separating any of those standings on one side or the other. So the European scene, man, it is all just neck and neck, tooth and nail. These guys are very, very close to each other. And I liked how hard Beat Your Makers tried, though. Certainly the early game was all kinds of interesting. Unfortunate there for Kuban. He got, a 0-3 start, and it was rough. But even though the team fights kept going in EG's favor, Meet Your Makers had that one game plan where they hid in that brush, and they caught Froggen. They got him full-on clean, got rid of him. But the problem is then they piled in. And kind of like Eminem says, they forgot about Wicked. And he just caught everybody in his ultimate, and it blew up Mockler.
I'm not sure about Wicked. I think they forgot about Pete.
They did. Well, yeah. I mean, they piled in to kill Pete, thinking, okay, we can tunnel on Pete. We can tunnel on Pete. We can kill him. We've got some crowd control left. And Wicked said no. Wicked said no. They all got knocked in the air, and then Pete got to shoot across them as Twitch. And that's what that team composition does. If you group up to dive the AD carry, either Thresh peels you away or Malphite ruins your day, and Kassadin goes and kills your backline. Well-built team comp from EG, a team fight team. I like that. Again, I like that a lot. And playing the map control game with the double teleport, it's a good look for them. And
it seems, Yellow Pete, he takes a lot of criticism, 10-7. Yep. That's not a bad score on Twitch. It started off very well for him in the lane phase. 8-4-8 as well for Froggen, Snoopy, he's taken a lot of abuse. 3-3-12, brilliantly played in the jungle. 1-0-15 for Wicked on Malphite. I know he hates playing the champion, but maybe he's going to have to do it a bit more.
It works so well, honestly. Every single person on that team did put up a good individual performance. They all made a lot of really good decisions, sometimes a little defensive. You saw Froggen say, well, I don't know if I can push this turret down. I'll back off and make sure nothing happens to us. It's too terrible. But overall, it was a well-played strategic game, a well-played individual game. And yes, they proved their fans right. They proved their haters wrong. EG deserved that game through and through.
Yeah, you saw the top Reddit thread, EG, please don't make any roster changes.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Yellow Pete. Great game on Twitch. Tell us about that pick and about the laning phase you had up against Lissandra.
Well, initially we laned against Twisted Fate, obviously, and the Lissandra swap only came in like once she was level 4 or so. So at that point, there wasn't really much to do in terms of pushing, because she had a lot of wave kill already. So we just denied her a lot of farm, basically froze her a little bit, gave up a little bit on the tower push and have Jarvan defend our solo instead to keep our tower up. And I think it worked pretty well for us, because I got pretty farmed. I think I had IE by like 30 minutes this game, so that's pretty good on Twitch.
Yeah, but on the other side, Vayne was also farming very well. Of course, both Vayne and Twitch, both AD carries that scale very well into the late game. So how do you make sure that you could be on top of the game and be better than her?
Well, we definitely had the better assassination in terms of team comms, like Malphite and Kassadin. If they get a jump on a carry, like he's going to have to build so much defense to even survive that. So whereas they also had catch, but it's not quite as hard to survive like a Nautilus Twisted Fate as an AD carry as it is to survive Kassadin and Malphite. And yeah, I really like Twitch because not only is he like very good late game, he also has a pretty decent laning phase, pretty good damage early on already, so you don't even have to like suffer a lot for it.
Right, superior team comp from you guys there. Now, of course, this win was extremely important for you guys. What are the feelings now about why did you get this victory and not be able to win in the ones before, and the general feeling about the team, because you have been getting a lot of flack?
Yeah, so I think one big difference this game, and what we also talked about a lot after yesterday's game, was that we were more decisive in the plays that we made. Like we had more decisive calls. We weren't as like we weren't trying to find like the perfect solution. We were just making a call basically in every situation and going with it. And usually if at least you focus on the same thing, it'll go decently, and that's what it did.
It also seems that you guys are still best friends as you ever were. There's nothing wrong with the atmosphere in the team.
No, there's nothing wrong with the atmosphere in the team at all.
All right, well, keep it up. Congratulations, Yellow Pete. All right, it's time to check in with Demon and Freak one last time to guide us through today's results and standings.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Always good to hear about the teams. There's no problems in the teams at all. That's what I like to hear, because that roster's been together a long time, and yourself and I have cast them for a very, very long time. So